I didn't think they'd do that. I figured they'd have like really modern K-pop beat and vocals and then like some 80s synths, but that was not the case. They nailed everything super accurately in this song. Hey everybody, how's it going? I've got another brand new music video reaction / review coming at you today, and this one is for I Feel You by Wonder Girls, and it's been a long time since we've heard from the Wonder Girls, so it's really exciting to see them come back. I have seen the teasers for this, and the whole 80s retro throwback thing just looked super awesome to me. I like a lot of 80s music, so I'm really excited to hear this song. I'm really excited that we get to see the Wonder Girls again, so let's go ahead and check out this music video. Here we go.
JYP and the Wonder Girls, we're back.
It looks super 80s, it sounds super 80s. The movements, the dances, the clothes, everything. The sets. Playing like the Steinberger headless guitars. Got that clear plastic strap. I'm kind of speechless. This is so cool, both musically and concept-wise. I'm just kind of blown away. Definitely getting like a little bit of a Robert Palmer kind of vibe from the music video. Not really the sound of the song, but definitely the concept and everything else. And all the transitions and the songwriting is like super 80s sounding as well. They're not really doing like a caricature of an 80s song. This is like a full out, like true to form 80s song, and it's fantastic. You gotta have a guitar, come on. This was gonna be a lot more like corny, and the song was just basically gonna be like a whole bunch of 80s musical cliches jammed into like a K-pop song. But like I said before, this is like a legitimate 80s hit. Even the vocal production doesn't sound insanely modern. And this concept fits them so well too. They just look great, they look comfortable doing this. I mean, this wouldn't be like out of place on an 80s countdown weekend on like VH1 if they do those anymore. I grew up on 80s music, a lot of it, so this is just super cool for me to see. All right. Oh, it's not over yet. That's so cool, and the album's even called Reboot, which is just super appropriate for what they're doing. Obviously in K-pop there's been a lot of 80s throwback stuff recently, which I really enjoy. The song by SHINee that I reviewed earlier today sounds like a very early 80s Michael Jackson hit, and there have been a whole lot of other examples as well, but this song takes that whole 80s retro sound, look, style, throwback thing to an entirely new level. They made a song that not only managed to sound completely authentic to the time period they were shooting for, the songwriting, the arranging definitely stayed true to that. Even the production stayed really true to that time period, and I would think that would be actually the hardest part to keep sounding authentic because of all the stylistic things that sound to us now like 80s cliches that didn't sound like that back then, and the fact that recording technology and everything else has progressed so far since then. But they managed to perfectly walk that line and make a song that sounds good today and like it might have actually come from that time period. And then of course the most important thing that I haven't actually talked about yet is that they made a really great song. If they had done all of those other things, got it to sound perfectly period correct, but then the song just wasn't that good, who cares? But they managed to make a song that's great, it's gonna appeal to younger people and listeners today, and they did that in combination with all the things I just mentioned. So to me, yeah, it's a great song, yeah, it's really accurate to the 80s, but it's a combination of all those things that just makes it super impressive. And then the other thing is that people my age or probably slightly older can't help but have like this type of stuff ingrained in their mind from watching 80s music videos. I was barely born in the 80s, but I grew up in the 90s watching reruns of 80s music videos. So all of these images and styles and sounds are just bringing back memories from when I was really little. And it's just really cool to see someone doing that right now in 2015 and going all out with it. So let's jump back into the song. There are a lot of things I want to talk about. Here we go. Love the distorted video too to make it look like an old VHS tape. Kind of those like blared out 80s TV cameras. If you've seen like old Michael Jordan highlights, you know what I'm talking about. Or really anything from the time period where there's flashing lights, it kind of like blared out the tape or the lenses. I'm not exactly sure why. Super typical sounding synthesizers. Also the samples in the percussion section. Everything is like electric drum kit from the 80s. Synth keyboard from the 80s, that real sort of like round, bouncy 80s bass tone. Everything just is like perfectly appropriate to that era. The other thing that doesn't really matter, but for the music video that I'm super impressed with, the instruments are actually very accurate to what you would have seen in the 80s. There are a lot of people doing the whole headless guitar Steinberger thing. Really cool. And then this kind of like tension break here. Very stylistically 80s. And then an instrumental break right here. You know, all these things that are common in 80s pop music or 80s pop rock music. And the other thing, like, the video fits so well with the song, like the dance moves, it just gives you that real, like, retro 80s kind of feel. It complements the song really well. You know, that snare sample, you can find that snare sample in probably, I don't know, 100,000 80s songs. Everything is like that. It's like, wait, have I heard this before? Well, no, it's a new song. They just did it that well. It can trick you into thinking like you've actually heard this song because it's an older song. I also like how they're not over singing it. Normally I really like a lot of belting, a lot of power singing, but this suits them and their voices perfectly, and the song perfectly. This is the only part that kind of doesn't sound 80s, but the backing track kind of makes up for it because they went super 80s on that part. So even though the rap is a little more modern sounding, overall I think it still retains its sort of period correct vibe. And yeah, like the vocals do not sound super auto-tuned. Obviously they didn't have auto-tune back in the 80s, but also the compression, the effects on the voices, it sounds really authentic, which is very surprising to me. I didn't think they'd do that. I figured they'd have like really modern K-pop beat and vocals and then like some 80s synths, but that was not the case. They nailed everything super accurately in this song. And then the sort of overall rhythmic feel and note choice and those little synth motifs and all the transitions, you hear that and it's just instantly 80s sounding. So I am insanely impressed with this song. The production, the songwriting, Also, Wonder Girls, you know, it's been a long time since they've done anything together, but man, have they come back with a bang. And although I don't really care about this type of thing myself, I know people are going to ask me how I think this compares to Girls' Generation's Party, because there seems to be a sort of rivalry between the Wonder Girls and Girls' Generation, especially a couple of years ago. And I only bring it up because as I was watching this video, this song, this concept, this music video absolutely blew me away. Absolutely impressed me. I Feel You is a great example of a song, music video, and concept that fit the group it was for perfectly. And Party by Girls' Generation did not. So I don't really get into this fan war stuff. I like Girls' Generation, I like Wonder Girls a lot, but those are my thoughts on the subject. And I know another thing people are going to ask me is, how does this song compare to all of the other girl group summer songs that have come out in the sort of summer girl group war? And as I've said before, I really like Oh Yeah by Mamamoo, Shake It by Sistar, Hurt Locker by Nine Muses, and Vibrato by Stellar, and this song I'm going to have to add to that list, so now I have a top 5. I can't really put them in order or rank them because they're all very different songs and I enjoyed every single one of them, but those are definitely my top 5 girl group songs of this summer. So anyway, I'm going to finish up this video and then watch this song and the Shiny song about a billion more times because I love both of them, and I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction/review. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you could share this video all over the place, Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, forums, all that stuff really helps us out, and I'll see you next time.